Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Tennis Rackets. Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Cars, a show where if we do talk about politics, it has to be also about cars because a politics show, this ain't. Also, if I seem like I'm in a little bit of pain, it's because I slammed my head into the bottom of a garage door. It closed on the head. Anyway, I want to talk about Brexit, the British exit from the European Union. And now, do not worry, this is not a political rant of any way, shape, or form. It's just kind of forming the basis of my discussion today. So, Brexit is the action of Britain, the country of Great Britain, leaving the European Union, which has already caused some serious, not just to mention backlash, but also shit in the country. Meaning, inflation. I think is it cheaper to fly there than to get back, or the other way around? Anyway, point being, this has had some foreseen and unforeseen consequences. I think one of the things that no one really thought about was this. Well, auto card. Yes, by this I mean cars. Now, this smashed up, very American Ford Mustang over here, oof, nice noise, might be a bad example. Just because, well, it's American, it's a Mustang, and it's cooler than anything that Britain's made that's on a supercar in the last few years, as far as cars are concerned. I want to talk about the Mini. So, the Mini Cooper was made for the oil crisis. It was a British car that got sucked into the dumpster fire that was British Leyland. Now, I've mentioned the British Leyland car company before. They basically went around buying up English car companies, and then, when they couldn't handle them, imploded and sold off all their assets. Meaning that all of a sudden, Britain had no more British-made car companies, and Mini was one of the last ones to go. Now, Mini got sold to BMW, and here's where the Brexit problem begins. You see, they're still recognized as a British brand, or British trademark, Mini. The Mini car, which has now become not very mini at all, they're actually pretty damn big, including the Clubman, the Cooper, the Mini, or the standard Mini, or it's called in England the Mini 1, and other such Mini cars, do belong to BMW, and as such are German cars, with also some parts made in France, and others in Sweden. So, due to the whole Brexit thing, I don't think it'll impact that much, but just think about what could it be impacted here, because like, if parts are being circulated to make the car from Germany to France to Britain to Sweden, or somewhere in that pattern, you're going to get a lot of stuff to do with the EU. Which, may I remind you, pretty soon, Britain will no longer be a part of. So, the sale of the new modern Mini, actually the Mini I had in the picture was 2016, I think. A hideous orange one. But the sale of the modern Mini in the UK has been going down, I think by 3% per year for the last 4 or 5 years, which is unsurprising. I mean, they're hideous to look at now, and they are just, they're never really that reliable. I mean, hell, for a long time, all they're really known for was some rallycross stuff, and being in both Italian Job movies, the original one and the American remake, which is not as bad as everyone says it is. It's not. Your dog's outside. Anyway, yeah, so parts being shipped about like this can cause major issues with trade fairing and prices. So your normal, I guess, in England to buy a Mini, I sell about £18,000, could suddenly end up looking something like £30,000, just because of all the shipping rates, not shipping rates, but just the interfair trade rates just between EU countries and non-EU countries. So as I said before, France, England, Germany, and Sweden. I'm mentioning where the Mini is going to be sold, because England, while it was once the proud creator of the Mini, is not the primary sales market for the car anymore. That goes to Germany for one, and for their taxis. Another portion is, come on, what do you think I'm going to say? Think about countries that buy way too much shit than they actually need. Yeah, America. We buy way too many Minis. Go to San Francisco and you will see what I'm talking about. It's all Priuses, smart cars, outdated Toyota Fusions, and what else? Bright orange minis. And of course it's bright orange because of the baseball team San Francisco Giants, which I'm a big fan of. But they actually did make a, I think it was a Toyota Corolla maybe, the new hatchback, as well as a Mini in honor of the San Francisco Giants team, and a color actually called in San Francisco Giants Orange. Now, the Mini itself is not a good car. It isn't. It's not mini, it's not small anymore. It's not particularly fuel efficient anymore. They make SUVs now. I think it was the Clubman and the Countryman. Yeah, those are the two. Those are just about as bad as the Fiat 500 SUV, which I may just do an episode on that because of how terrible it is. Do not worry, the Aston Martin Valkyrie episode, which I promised for season 2, is still in the works. I've just been working out some kinks. I've done multiple filming sessions of that episode, just don't really like it. But yeah, so cars like the Mini aren't necessarily good cars, but that's my point. Other cars like Aston Martin was no longer for a while being built in the UK. We also have Tata, and Tata, the Indian company, who have the honor of owning not just Rolls-Royce, but also Jaguar, and not hopefully, but also soon to be Bentley, if that deal goes through. So, since I think now, for the first time since it happened, England will really start to feel the repercussions of the whole British Leyland incident, when it exploded and lost. I mean, Rover was killed off by Jeremy Clarkson, as said by the former boss of Rover. But I think Land Rover, if I'm not mistaken, is still a British-owned company. Now, I mean, like, some companies are owned by, like, it's like, think about, like, some people, like, people make computers and laptops, right? And they may say, oh yeah, the company's founded in the US, but we do all of our work in sweatshops over in China, right? Now, if that does not affect us here, I'm just using it as it's an okay example, but like, some British car companies, Aston Martins, are not always built in the UK. They are built in Kuwaiti and other places. I think the brand that is British that will suffer from this the least is probably Morgan, because they are a self-contained sports car company made in England. They're not huge branches. And if you guys don't know what Morgan is, they've been, for like, since the early 1900s, been building amazing cars that are quite quirky. You might know them for building probably the world's most iconic three-wheeler that does not have the name Orion attached to it. Yeah, they built the Morgan three-wheeler, and hell, they still build the damn thing today. It's a funny little sporty car. Well, I say sports car, it's more of a track toy. It's Morgan's wooden tricycle is what it is. But yeah, Morgan, as it is built and owned in the UK, will not be feeling any backlash from this. However, other companies that require on parts to be traded around via other countries, as I said before, the BMW Mini trade will be feeling, well, more of the backlash of the Brexit deal. And this could be a good thing if it means getting the Mini off our roads, because as I said, I do not like the Mini Cooper anymore. It was cool, I guess. If you watch the Watson Vlog 1, you know exactly what joke that is. But seriously, I used to think the Mini Cooper was cool. I also saw both versions of the Italian Job. The American one is not as bad as I think it is. When I was like 13 years, actually no, I was 12 years old. And the Minis were in those. I'm like, cool. They're made to look awesome. But the Mini itself was a gimmick of, it was for fuel reasons they made it. And they lost money every single one that went out the door. I mean, when it was came out originally, people at Ford bought one, tried to take it apart to see how it worked and how they made money off every single one they sold. And to be sure right here, they didn't. So the Mini has never been fuel efficient. Well, it has been fuel efficient. Sorry. Never been money efficient. Never really been in the market saving the people who made up money. And now, with 3% declining per year on the road, like, Brandon actually has a really cool website that says it's called How Many Left, where they show how many of each car most registered vehicles are left on the road in England. Now, the US does not do this since we're not exactly in the habit of releasing our DMV records, which is probably a good thing, considering that the US is pretty messed up in other ways. But yeah, I actually went in there. That's where I got the 3% thing from. I went and searched up just the overall sales for Mini and how many have been seen on the road. Now they do have different ones for each different generation. So the original generation obviously is different than now. But the current generation, the mini brick, which I'm calling it, which is the one made by BMW, the very ugly ones, the very bulky ones, which are no longer mini and are verging on even breaking out of the subcompact genre. Those cars have been declining, and honestly, it's like what Volkswagen is doing, no longer selling the Beetle in the US. There'll be no more parts of the Beetle in the US, thus the rates on the road will go down. Now, when minis become as expensive as nice Toyotas over there in the UK, across the pond, I predict that sales of the Mini will go down. They are not reliable vehicles, not good to drive, not good to look at, not good to be in. And with that, if Brexit still sounds like a breakfast cereal, right? Next to your Weetabix, if you're British. Wheat, biscuit, wheat, what? No. Anyways, Brexit still sounds like a breakfast cereal. Anyway, let's do a big wrap up right here. Everything all in one, right? I don't really breakfast. Sorry about that. I'm so hungry. I've not had lunch today. Brexit is not a huge concern on my mind. I am in America. It probably will affect me at one point, but it's not a huge concern on my mind. However, if it means getting rid of more horrific cars like the modern Mini, then I'm all for it. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Woohoo! I'm gonna eat some Brexit fist. That joke sucked.